And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's first round playoff matchup here in boys soccer between your very own Regis Jesuit Raiders and the Raiders of Rangeview High School. I'll be your play-by-play commentator tonight, Steven Snyder, along here with my color commentator, Joe Quigley, my producer, Jorge Palacios Jr., and our cameraman who's braving it out tonight in the rain and cold, Joey Vanell. Joe, great to have you here.
Great to be here, Steven. I love Regis Jesuit soccer, and it's the start of the playoffs. There's going to be a lot going on tonight. Big, intense atmosphere. Love to see this game.
And, Joe, you know what playoff means in boys soccer. You either win here or you go home. And when the stakes are high, you always see better, more intense soccer. So I'm very excited for this one, too. What are you looking for in tonight's game, Joe?
I'm looking for the Regis Jesuit Raiders to run their high-octane offense to its fullest capabilities. Last few games, they struggle with it a little bit, but if they can get that offense moving and grooving tonight, they are going to be unstoppable.
Indeed. And what about the other Raiders, Joe? What are you looking for from Rangeview High School?
They need to play strong defense. Like I said, the Regis Raiders have a very powerful offense, so if the Rangeview Raiders can keep them out in front of their back four, they're going to be golden.
And one thing I've noticed, Joe, is that with the Regis Jesuit defense, the counterattack is not the way to work when you have a strong defense. You want to set up, and then after you've set up, that's when you make runs on the Regis Jesuit defense. Counters don't work because, to me, it seems like the Raiders run a German-style offense with a lot of speed and a lot of playing up.
I agree 100%, Steven. This Raider team is very, very fast, so the counterattack really isn't all that effective because they can catch up to you and even overtake you.
Definitely, and it's going to be really interesting, Joe, to see how the weather factors in tonight. It has been raining for a solid, from what I've seen, about 2 hours.
That is right, and although it is AstroTurf out on this field, it's still gonna play a factor on the ball, on the boots, and overall on the player's mindset.
Definitely. Games like this, you typically see an advantage for players like Cyrus Bebahani when everybody's slipping around. The players with a good slide tackle and that can control their slides usually succeed very well. So, interesting, Joe. I'm loving the fact that Drew Schmidt's still in. I know he only has one loss this season as goalkeeper.
That is right, and he, in my opinion, is a phenomenal goalkeeper. He started out the season in the midfield, played very strong there. Coach Walsweir wanted to see him in goal, and he's been doing a great job.
So we'll see here. Refs starting to meet at center field here at Aurora Public School Stadium in Aurora, Colorado. Got about 7 minutes till halftime.
One thing I'd like to mention about this rain is that it's a footwork nightmare. You can't do your fancy skill moves in this water because you're going to be slipping and sliding around all over the place. So whatever team can pass the ball the best and control it when they have it in the midfield without skill moves is going to be the victor.
And that might mean we might see playing time cuts in players such as Luis Hernandez for the Raiders, who is a footwork genius, but when it comes down to it, his outside passing is maybe a little subpar. So we'll have to see there.
Right, you are, Steven. And even watching these guys warm up, you can see that in their steps and in their passes and in their shots, everything seems a little bit uncomfortable, but I think they'll be able to pull through.
Indeed, and as I look here at the playoff bracket, Joe, we are watching the game between the number 13th seeded Rangeview and the number 20th seeded Regis. The winner of this will go on to play the winner of the Doherty Smoky Hill game, which actually occurred at 4 p.m., so that game should have wound up, but we'll try to figure out that score from you and see who the winner will play.
Absolutely, and before this playoff bracket came out, the Regis Jesuit Raiders were tied for second with 4 other teams in their Centennial Conference. So we had to go to a tiebreaker. We ended up taking 5th in the conference, which is why that gave us that number 20th seed.
Indeed, Joe, and we'll see if that seeding really affects it. But when you get into the playoffs, you got to take it one game at a time. If you're bigger teams like Rangeview here, you can't overlook teams like Regis because this year's bracket has also been so close. So really intense as the Raiders are introduced here. We'll have to see what the starting lineup for the Raiders is. It's interesting. We've seen very different looks every week we broadcast, Joe. So it'll be interesting to see who starts here. If situations like where to put Connor Walsh. I know we've seen him start in the midfield. We've seen him start very strong on defense, and we've even seen him ride the bench. I think for a game like this, you got to go back to what you know. You got to put him in the midfield, Joe, but it could go either way.
Absolutely, and I like how Coach Wolf does that every single game. He watches film of the other team, watches their strengths, watches their weaknesses, and plays his Raiders accordingly. It shows the confidence he has in this Raider team and the talent of the Regis Raiders too.
Indeed, Joe, and as Rangeview High School is introduced, I'd like to tell our folks at home a quick pre-apology if we end up using the term Raiders and you can't figure out which team we're talking about, as both schools do have the same mascot. We'll try to stick to Rangeview and Regis as much as we can, but we haven't had too much practice using it, so we'll do our best.
And tonight, I do believe that Drew Schmidt will be starting in goal instead of the usual Steven Shahara. Am I correct, Steven?
Yes, and actually, Joe, it's almost to the point where if Steven Shahara started, he'd be starting over the usual Drew Schmidt, as Drew Schmidt has become the usual. I believe he is 4-1 in goal.
Yes, he is, and we are going to take a quick break for our national anthem, and we'll be right back.
You know, Joe, I say this pretty often, but I just can't get over it. I love the national anthem. I think it's one of the best in the world, and I just love living in America. So just shout out to all our fellow Americans out there.
I, too, love this country, regardless of who's leading it. Governor Romney, President Obama, whoever wins this election, just got to hope that they do the 100% best they can no matter what party you're affiliated with.
Indeed, Joe, and I think that's what we're working back towards is being Americans and not being Republicans or Democrats. So whenever you can see that, you love it. But anyways, back to the football action, folks, as we get ready to kick off here. Both teams in their final huddle as they come out. Here we go. Looks like I do have a score report on Smoke Hill versus Doherty. We'll see if we can fill that in for you.
You know, Steven, I wouldn't be surprised if Smoky Hill won that game. They're ranked 4th.
And actually, I don't have one, Joe. He was asking me if I wanted to input a score. And I won't do that to the people out there.
I'm glad you have that kind of sense, Steven. And here come the players out taking the field. Looks like we're just going to go ahead and skip starting lineups and get right to the action as it is 6 o'clock. Want to keep the game on track.
So as both teams trot out on the field, surprise, surprise, Joe Langendorfer is starting in right back. That's a surprise for us as we see Luis Hernandez, Christian Nays, and Ian Shelton starting up top. Pretty standard, backed up by what appears to be, is that?
That's number 11, Scott Ryan, standing out there. He's a very strong player. He's got a very beautiful shot.
Raiders back line completed with Inbow, Walsh, and Trey Ahern. Very standard line. I believe Mitch Rossi lining up next to Ryan. And to complete our 11, Drew Schmidt and Adam Mania. At least it looks like Adam Mania. Mania gets the ball. He's running up the side, and he will get that to Shelton, who will not be able to control it. That'll go out of bounds for a Raiders throw-in.
And there you see the Rangeview Raiders testing that Regis defense already, knocking a quick ball down to the middle, see if catch him off guard, catch him sleeping.
And Langendorfer gets the ball. Langendorfer switches it back to a Rangeview player. And Rangeview now looking on the run, 4-on-4. Looking for a through ball. No, inbound there with a stop, but Rangeview collects. And it looks like Scott Ryan's going to be able to control. And the Raiders are going to be able to clear, but Rangeview's going to keep it in their half. So Rangeview giving him a hard time. Langendorfer there with a very poor clear. He's going to pop it up. Scott Ryan battling. He will win possession and get it back to Langendorfer, who gets the pass up to Nays. Controlled in the center by Rangeview. Rangeview working the ball slowly up.
So far, we're seeing Rangeview just controlling that ball like they're used to. I don't think the Raiders really know. I don't think they've played a lot of other teams who control the ball as well as Rangeview does, pardon me. So I feel like it's going to be a factor tonight in that game.
Definitely. Ball comes back to Langendorfer, who heads it up. And, folks, I apologize already. Our screen is clouded with the rain, so I'll probably be using numbers for Rangeview all night. Chased down. Ian Shelton tackled in the box, and they say, well, that is a foul. We'll see if they call that inside the box. No, that's a foul on Ian Shelton.
It looked like he was fighting for the ball, and Ian's such a big and strong and powerful player that he doesn't go down too often, so I guess you should go ahead and assume it was a foul on him, but not that time. Good call by there, sir.
So, trickling back into the Regis zone, Brendan Imba with a nice clear. Rangeview really seeming to control the possession here, Joe. Just taking shots as they please in the spray and hoping it slips up on Drew Schmidt.
I don't think Drew Schmidt will let that happen, though. He's very strong.
So, looks like Alex Amador and Trey Hudson working on the left side for Rangeview. Hudson going to take the throw to Amador. Hudson back to the middle for Rangeview. Pass it back to number 13. Number 13 looking. Taking his time. Back to Hudson.
I like what Rangeview's doing with bringing up number 13, Steven Dominguez, as more of an attacking wingback player. He's technically playing left back, but I like how they're pushing him forward and using him as like an extra midfielder out on that wing.
So we will see here what Drew Schmidt does with the goal kick. Drew Schmidt with the goal kick. Taken away by Rangeview right at midfield. Very dangerous situation, but Mitch Rossi able to control that by taking control outside to Mania. Mania off a Rangeview player, and that'll be a Regis throw-in. Trey Ahern coming up to take it.
Trey is one of the strongest defensive players I have seen on this team in a very long time, Steven. He closes very quickly, and his physical presence isn't too aggressive to where he draws fouls consistently. He's just such a strong player.
Drew Schmidt there to quell that attack. Dangerous through ball by Rangeview. Brandon Imba has to get it back from Langendorfer. Langendorfer looking like he has the jitters like we saw him have another game. Connor Walsh slipping and sliding. Great shot, and that is a Rangeview goal there. Number 12, Marcus Wold with the goal, and that I can only point that to one person, Joe, and that's Langendorfer with that poor pass that gave it away.
You know, I don't like to point fingers, pardon me. And if I had to, that one's on Joe. He shouldn't have played that ball back across the middle to where Connor Walsh barely controlled it, and it led to an outside shot, which was taken beautifully by Marcus Wold. And now it's going to be 1-0. Rangeview is in the lead with 36 minutes left in this first half.
And normally it's the Raiders that hop out to an early goal lead, Joe, so it'll be interesting to see how they respond. As it would be right now, Raiders are going home with an end of their season, so you got to think they'll try to respond with a lot. But we do have 76 whole minutes of play here left, so we will see Rangeview just content to control it in their defense. Looking for the long through ball, not going to get there. Inbound with a stop.
Who is Langendorfer playing in for on that defensive right back spot, Steven?
That's kind of a floater position. I've seen Jack Flynn in there. I've seen... Hold on, let me pull out my Regis roster and see if I can pick out anybody else. Now that I look at it, either Jack Flynn, Scott Ryan sometimes fills back there. Matt Muniz occasionally drops back there.
And Connor Walsh clearing that ball. Pardon me, not Connor Walsh. That is clearing the ball very well out there. Great slide tackle, great ball.
Adam Mania there on that clear. So Adam Mania with another kick off a Rangeview player, giving Trey Hearn the ball. We'll see here what Rangeview can do. Rangeview manages to take over. Looking. Oh, wow. Amador almost had that for Rangeview. Regis just trying to clear, but no can do. That'll be a handball on Christian Nays.
Christian did a very good job of trying not to commit that handball, but his hand was right there in the process of him running, so I guess he just kind of roll with the punches on that one. He knew it was a handball, and I like the no yellow card on that.
Free kick right around midfield for Rangeview. Rangeview with the boot. That's going to drop into the box. Langendorfer whiffing it, and that'll be a Rangeview corner kick. No, they'll say it's a goal kick.
This is the second game I've seen Langendorfer with the important playoff game jitters. He's only a sophomore, but he's been doing very well. I feel like towards the end of this game he'll work out the kinks and he'll be all right. And here we have a fight for possession in the midfield, and still no one has a clear possession. And here comes Rangeview going to play to their back four and control it.
So Rangeview really keeping control of this game and really content to. So we'll see what they do here. Langendorfer misses it. Luckily inbound there to bring it up. And I think if you're Coach Wolf, Joe, you got to pull Langendorfer off and get him calmed down. He's just too nervous now.
That is correct. And it's that big game jitters. It's such a young player. That's really what it comes down to.
So shout out to Jorge Palacios, who's squeegeeing our windows right now so we can see. So we'll see here what. Sorry, folks.
Steven Dominguez kicking the ball out of bounds, and we're going to have Langendorfer take a throw in on the sideline. He's going to take a long throw, and Ian Sheldon's going to flick it on back down into the Raiders zone. Fight for possession. Scott Ryan in there contesting for the ball. Almost comes away with it. I love how he's using his body out there. Really just trying to box out players bigger than him because he's a strong player even though he's only about 5'9".
Indeed, Joe. And Scott Ryan taking it away. Ian Shelton able to control and look back. Find Adam Mania. Adam Mania taking his time. Gets it to Luis, but no can do. And Luis will lose that. Rangeview looking to clear.
These aren't the Regis Raiders we're used to seeing, Steven. We're used to seeing these Regis Raiders come out and control the ball and just take their sweet time on offense. And now we're going to have a free kick for the Raiders about 35, 45 yards out from the goal. And we're going to see Brandon Inbound with that big old leg cross it in. Here it comes. It's up. Looking for Ian Sheldon on the backside, just a little too high, and it's going to be a goal kick.
And about 9 minutes into this game, it seemed like a lot longer game than that, Joe. We've only played 9 minutes, but I'd say Rangeview really having control right now, and the Raiders almost looking lost, and that's actually causing me to seem a little lost because I don't really know. I'm used to having to speak 100 miles an hour to keep up with the Raiders' play.
I, too, am the same way, and it's weird seeing just such a slow-paced game from both of these teams, actually. Regis, I know for a fact, likes to run and gun and use their speed and their talent up front, but it's just not working tonight.
So we will see here as the ball trickles back.
Going to be a goal kick for the Rangeview Raiders. Pardon me, it's a punt. He controlled the ball.
So Rangeview punts it. Not able to control it, but bounces awkwardly off the leg of Adam Mania, and Rangeview controls again. Rangeview up the side. Looking. Can't find Amador. And that'll be cleared. Ian Shelton chasing it down. He might actually get there. And he's going to. Ian Sheldon gets it at the last possible second, finds the cross, but Luis not able to get there.
That was great hustle out of Ian Sheldon. A lot of people just gave up on that ball, but since he's so fast and just so conditioned, he just like, you know what? That's mine now. I'm going to go ahead and take and get a good cross in.
So getting back to Brendan Imba, who puts it up to Adam Mania. Adam Mania can't get there, and Rangeview controls again. Raiders, I don't know if it's the rain or the Raiders that are making this game a little sloppier than normal. So we will see here. Rangeview heads it, but Traherne heads it right back, and after a little header chain, Brandon Inbow misses the clear. Rangeview not able to get on that. Inbow clears that one, though. Gets his foot on that into the Rangeview back line, and Rangeview back line staying very organized and disciplined for a high school back line. Really impressed, Joe.
That's just great coaching out there. They're just told to hold their line, be disciplined, play slow, and make the smart play. And that's what they've been doing the whole game, and it's working out in their favor.
And one thing I guess that caught my eye there that made me really impressed was how they moved as a unit when that ball came through their line. Most of the time you'll see one guy chase it a little faster than the others, but they moved as a unit, which makes for a really strong defense, and it looks like the Raiders are going to have a difficult time tonight.
Absolutely, but if the Raiders can use their speed to their advantage, that means they're going to have to bring all of their players moving in that unit at once, and that could leave a lot of backside opportunities open for the Raiders.
Drew Schmidt controls, looking for the punt. 28:30 left in this first half. He boots it. Ian Shelton heads it to Luis Hernandez, who can't quite get there. That'll actually be taken away by Brandon Scott. Looking on the run for Rangeview. No, stopped, but it'll be a Rangeview throw-in. We'll see here, Rangeview really dominating this game. And Rangeview just bringing it back to their back line, content to keep it. And that will get through 3 players before Brandon Inbow is able to find the clear. Headed on by Luis Hernandez looking for the through ball, and that'll go back to the Rangeview goalie.
That was some shaky defense by the Raiders. Not very characteristic of how they've been playing all year. You don't often see that kind of pass get through 3 players and have to be stopped by the back line.
So Rangeview controlling and popping that one up. Langendorfer able to head it to Scott Ryan. Scott almost gives it away, but able to keep it. Mitch Rossi looking out on the side. Looking for the cross into Ian Sheldon, but nobody's there. Oh, that ball's spinning and bouncing wildly on the wet turf. Almost got by the goalie for Rangeview there.
And that's just a prime example of how this weather's going to affect the game. That was a 50-yard shot from Mitch Rossi, and the goalie had to take two tries to control the ball because it was just so wet.
So maybe that'll be the strategy tonight, Joe, is just take some long balls out of Mania battling with Rangeview for the ball, and that'll be a Rangeview throw-in.
I'd really like to see how this Raider offense does once they control the ball and stop giving it away on the sidelines.
Indeed, Joe. You always like to see how a team plays when they can actually play like they usually do. Everybody having trouble controlling this ball. Ranger going to pop it up, but into 4 Regis defenders. So Mitch Rossi misses, but Christian Nays controls back to Langendorfer. Langendorfer waiting, finds Rossi. Back to Langendorfer on the give and go, who finds Luis Hernandez, who goes to Langendorfer on the give and go again, but that'll go out of bounds. Langendorfer can't quite get there. Knocked out by a Rangeview player, though. So it'll be a Regis Jesuit throw-in.
That was a very good play from Joe. He utilized that whole wing-back attack. He just brought himself down and made himself known as an offensive threat as well as a defensive threat.
So Christian Nays with a throw-in. Looks for the throw, but headed out by Rangeview. That'll be another Raider throw-in.
Nays was looking for Mitch Rossi out there, and he's going to try to do it again. This time he's going to put it over the head, looking for number 7 for the Raiders, Harrison Thrasher.
So really unfortunate there. Couldn't quite get there. But Rangeview with a goal kick. Raiders finally showing some light with opportunity, but couldn't capitalize. We'll see if they can later in this game. Rangeview with the goal kick. Christian Nays tries to control. And Scott Ryan will get under control. Finds Rossi. Finds Nays. Looking for Harrison Thrasher, but he will not get there.
I must commend Mitch Rossi's ball handling right now. That ball is slick, and it's just sliding all over the place, and people are having a very hard time controlling it. But he's doing very well. His one-touch passes are on point. He's doing a great job, even despite this weather.
Great clear by Rangeview. Headed through, but Brendan Inbound controls. Brendan Inbound looking on the far side for Adam Mania. I've got a post in my way. There we go. Rangeview comes out with it on the other side, but Inbound there to stop again. I believe that is Jack Flynn now on defense.
I like how Inbound went out and gambled on that through ball. He's seen it a few times already. He knew they were going to be looking in for number 11, Ruben Zuinga. So he's like, you know what? I know where this ball's going, and I'm going to cut it out.
Trey Ahern still on defense back there. Rangeview, loses the ball, and Christian Nays able to keep it. Christian Nays looking for Ian Shelton. Ian Shelton able to control, manages to keep his footing and keep the ball in. He still has it. Ian Shelton still has it. And he gets it back to Mitch Rossi, who finds Christian Nays off Christian's head. And Christian somehow keeping it, but that'll be cleared. Regis Jesuit throw in Langander for quick throw into Rossi. Rossi headed to Nays, but Connor Walsh heads it back in for the Raiders after that Rangeview clear.
That's going to be a handball on Scott Ryan in the midfield, free kick for the Raiders, for the Rangeview Raiders, pardon me. I really like how Regis just gave Rangeview a run for their money. Like, hey, we've got a good offense. Let's see what you guys can do about it.
I do like that, Joe, and once you can start to spread seeds of doubt into the defense's mind, like, oh, man, he almost got through there. We kept him out, but I don't know if we could do it again. That's when you can really start to get through, and really soccer has an element of a mental game, Joe. It really does.
More than any other sport besides golf, in my opinion. You have to really think, like, it is a lot of talent, a lot of skill, a lot of chemistry in your team, but it's also how you think you're playing, how you think what you're going to do, and all those other little aspects you wouldn't necessarily, consciously make every single time you make a decision on the field.
Brandon Imbow with the kick to Adam Mania, chased by Harrison Thrasher. Rangeview, great defense. And we will see that as a foul on Harrison Thrasher. So that'll be a Rangeview kick. Disappointing there. It looked like Harrison might have had an opportunity.
I feel like the Regis Raiders are starting to get in their stride. They're starting to control the ball more in the midfield, get their runs, look down the field, and just really starting to connect with each other out on the field.
And I know, Joe, Raiders came out to warm up with about 40 minutes left, or 40 minutes before the game, which is about 30 minutes of warm-up. And normally I see them warming up for 45, so they might have needed this extra 18 minutes as we're now at 22 minutes and a half to get warmed up and get to where they need to be for gameplay.
And that might be a factor of the weather. You think the coaches might have just been in the locker room like, all right, we don't want to get you too cold out there, so make sure when you do go out and warm up, you do give it your all.
And Christian Nays here with the throw for the Raiders. Toss it up to Ian Shelton. It gets headed back. And Christian Nays trying to control Rangeview, clearing it way out. And Christian Nays with a quick throw to Scott Ryan. Scott Ryan jukes. Rangeview clears, though. And that might have been a handball, but no call. Passing it through, it's Connor Walsh racing with nobody else, but he able to defend it off for Drew Schmidt. Looked like Marcus Wold was almost going to get there, but he didn't.
And Drew Schmidt with a booming kick out to the other side of the field, looking for Harrison Thrasher. I don't think he was ready for that ball to get there.
I don't think he was either. It kind of came off the back of Ian Shelton and kind of rolled off Ian and trickled to Thrasher, but nonetheless, Rangie's still in control. Looking through, and no foul called there. Rangeview wanted one. Almost got through there. I can't quite pick up a number, but great give and go there. It almost looked like Amador wanted Wold, but couldn't get it.
I like that no call by the ref, because when you're inside that box and if you call a foul, That's a game-breaking decision. So you have to be 100% sure that it was a foul and it needs to be called. So if you have any doubt in your mind, you can't call it if it's inside that box.
Indeed, Joe, and as Rangeview sits contently in the midfield with their possession. Whoa, a little scary there. Rangeview meant to kick it a completely opposite way. Luckily, it trickled to one of their players. Hudson looking. Great defense there by Brendan Imbow. Doesn't let it get through, so that'll be a Rangeview. Oh, that'll be offsides. So, Brendan Imbow taking the offsides free kick.
And it's looking like the rain's letting up a little bit out there. We're seeing less show up on these windows inside this booth, but doesn't mean I still think it is raining, but not nearly as hard as it was pregame.
Indeed. Here we go, Rangeview coming up to take the throw-in. Dominguez with the throw. Searching over Christian Nays, laying in there for great defense. But Rangeview somehow finds a way with the ball out of that mess and controls it at center field. And here they come, looking for an attack with that switch. Looks to switch it back, but Ian Shelton is there. Ian Shelton controls for the Raiders, gets it to Harrison Thrasher. Harrison passed it off to Walsh, who passed it off to Ahern. Ahern looking for Shelton. And that'll be out of bounds on the Raiders. Rangeview throw in. Quick throw.
Looking through this Rangeview Raider roster, they're a very young team. They have only 4 seniors on their entire squad. So we can look to see that next year this team can come out and be even better because a lot of returning players for this Rangeview team next year.
And that's always a nice thing, Joe, especially if you don't lose them to academy. I know Raiders had some issues with that. This year it looked like we'd have some returning players, but we lost 3 of them to academy. But that's okay. Out of bounds, Raider throw in deep in the corner. Christian Nays looking to take. Christian with a big throw, looking for Harrison Thrasher. Rangeview tries to clear, but no, Mitch Rossi there. Mitch Rossi, very patient, manages to get that. Passes it back to Trey Ahern, who puts it into Ian Shelton, and they'll say that is offsides.
Ooh, that was close. I really like how Trey put that ball in for Ian Shelton, looking for him to just volley it home, but referee saw he was off, put up his flag, and now it's going to be a free kick for the Rangeview Raiders.
Kick by the goalie for Rangeview. And that'll bounce. That really takes a hard hit on the wet ground and slows down for that Rangeview player.
That's just another example of this weather affecting. It's going to slow down the field, so they might have to put a little bit more power on their shots and their passes to make sure the ball gets where they want it to.
So as that ball trickles out of bounds, Raiders look to reset, but not quick enough. Rangeview really giving them some trouble. And, folks, I'm going to leave you with Joe and Jorge really quick as it is my turn to go squeegee.
And right now we have a tussle for possession in the midfield. And it looks like the Raiders are going to come, and it's going to be a foul on Rangeview. Free kick for Regis Jesuit. And stepping in for Steven Snyder while he goes and squeegees the windows, we have Jorge Palacios, our fearless producer.
How you doing, guys?
And short free kick taken by Brandon Limbaugh, not very characteristic of him. And it's going to be Rangeview on the counterattack looking to get anything going. Number 7, Alex Amador playing it back to his defense to give his offense time to get forward. Connor Walsh sends it forward, controlled in the midfield by number 10, Jose Martinez.
And what we're seeing right now is just both teams trying to get possession of the ball. And I think right now Rangeview is doing a better job. Regis seems to be picking it up really, really well. And, I mean, like you guys noted earlier, I think it's the whole they weren't warmed up necessarily when the game started. Now they're doing a lot better, getting a lot more warmed up. Yeah.
And shouts to our cameraman once again out there on the roof, braving this weather for us. Really just thank you, Joey Bonnell, for sitting out in the rain. And ball gets through the Raider midfield, cleared out by Langendorfer to the opposite sideline. But looks like number 12, Marcus Wold's going to get there, control the ball. Maybe you can look for some offense. Plays it in, cleared by Brandon Imbow. And we're also, Rangeview right back with the ball, giving it away. And it looks like it's just a bit of a clearing battle for these two teams right now. Who can clear the ball and get possession first is really what's going on. And it looks like Rangeview right back. It's just no one can really gain a clear possession right now.
And, Joe, after squeegeeing out there, I can tell you one thing. That rain has not let up. If anything, it has gotten harder. And it isn't big drops, but it's a lot of little, small, constant, fast drops. And that is affecting play out there, I'll tell you that.
And Mitch Rossi on the counterattack, looking to get something going, takes a wild shot, goes straight in the air. Ian Sheldon looking to control it down in the corner, and it's going to be knocked out by a Rangeview player for a Raider throw-in.
Rangeview really doing a great job of clearing the throw-ins, not letting the Raiders use their corner kick. Ian Sheldon looking with the throw, tries to find, and that'll be a corner kick now. Nope, another throw-in. Shelton, the short throw into Christian Nays. Back to Shelton, who tries to find it through to Harrison Thrasher, but Rangeview with a great clear. And that'll trickle out for a Raider throw-in across half.
Like I said a little bit ago, it's a clearing battle right now. Who can knock the ball out of their own zone faster and hopefully get some weird offense going out there?
So Adam Mania, or Harrison Thrasher, is trying to chase down. No can do. Haven't really heard any noise from Adam Mania, surprisingly, tonight, Joe, who's really a big part of this Raider offense usually.
He's actually our leading goal scorer on top of being such a big producer for the offense. Not only does he make plays, he finishes those plays.
So we'll see here. Rangeview looking for a quick turnaround, but Ian Shelton able to keep him off. Rangeview controls now. Looking for the clear. Christian Nays able to control that ball, and that'll go off. That'll be a Regis throw-in. Christian has nobody to throw it to. Has to throw it back to Langendorfer. Langendorfer looking for the switch. Ian Sheldon heads it, looking for Adam. Oh, man. No.
That was Matt Muniz looking to volley that home, but a Rangeview player cut it out. And I don't know if you could hear me, but I got really excited about that play.
Yeah, I was really excited too. And, if Matt Muniz would have gotten a foot on that one had back of the net written all over it. Oh, Rangeview player breaking through Amador. But Langendorfer able to get it back to Drew Schmidt. Really scary play there.
I disagree with that decision to play it back to Drew Schmidt when you're the only defender in case it doesn't get to your players. But luckily it did. That was a close one. Shot taken by Ian Sheldon, parried out by the goalie. And, well, it's going to be a Raider throw-in. Regis Raider throw-in.
We usually see a lot of teams taking a lot of long shots against the Raiders, Joe. This is a night where the Raiders might want to learn something from that because these long shots actually effective. The goalie had no intention of catching that or option of catching that. He just had to parry.
That reminds me of the Highlands Ranch game when Highlands Ranch was just taking moonball shots from the midfield, just hoping they'd go in because I feel like they watched some film and knew that Steven Shahara, the goalie at the time, had a broken thumb.
Indeed. So we'll see Mitch Rossi back to Cyrus Bahani on a quick give and go. Oh, slipped up there by Adam Mania, and Rangeview will take over. Weather now starting to take its toll not only on the ball carrier but on defenders too, and people just trying to control it. So we will see here.
It's also taking a toll on players just trying to get around this field. Whether they have the ball or not, they're just running around out there, and it's a little bit of a challenge.
Quick shout out again to our cameraman, Joey Bennell, facing this storm out up in the crow's nest on top of the press box. Hope he's doing all right up there, Joey. And we appreciate your work, and I know our fans at home appreciate it.
And Ian Sheldon trying to win that ball in the corner. It's going to be a goal kick for Rangeview.
So, Rangeview taking over here. Quick pause with only 10 minutes to go here. And going to be a goal kick for Rangeview, actually. Boots it up. No good. Mitch Rossi able to control it back to Ian Sheldon, who finds Harrison Thrasher. Men slipping and sliding. Oh, that's going to be a trip up on Ian Sheldon, and that'll be a free kick for the Raiders. See if Brandon Inbow can take advantage of this one.
And Cyrus Bebahani thought that was a foul on his own team. He started running backwards to play some defense, and Drew Schmidt kindly let him know that it's time to go play offense, Cyrus.
And we'll see if Brandon Inbow actually takes this. Ian Sheldon talking with the ref.
Ian Sheldon's definitely getting physical out there. People are pushing him around, challenging him, testing his temper, seeing if he can control himself. And so far, he's done a very good job.
So Ian Shelton actually going to take this, not Brendan Inbow. See if Ian Shelton takes a shot. I would seem that to be the wise decision here, Joe.
Ian Sheldon has a rocket of a shot, and with this weather, I really do believe it can go in if it's on target.
And look at Joe. The rain just picked up very intense. You can see it down on the track how hard it's raining now. And you can see it on our windows. Now completely unsqueegeed again. But, wow, really intense, Joe. Absolutely intense.
And that was a good shot from Ian. It had the power and it had the curve, but it just was not on target enough. So shouts to him, but he really needs to just hone that in. Winning the ball back, looking to play it forward to Christian Nays. Christian Nays chasing the ball down, and it's going to go ahead and trickle out of bounds for a goal kick for Rangeview.
And I think Rangeview, with this weather, are going to be very happy heading into halftime, as it looks like, with 8 minutes left. If they can head to halftime with this 1-0 lead, Joe, you got to think it's going to be tough for the Raiders to get back in this weather.
They can do it, though, Steven. They're a very resilient team. They're used to jumping out early, but if they don't jump out early, they play a lot of games from behind. It's either they jump out early or they go down early.
And unfortunately, we can't see any mediocre soccer from the Raiders. I've never really seen them go in halftime tied, to be honest, now that I think about it. But
the only ties I've seen are 0-0 when the final goal is scored on a PK in the 89th minute.
Oh.
79th minute, pardon me.
Yeah, 79. So Christian Nays pushed down there, and that'll be a throw-in for the Raiders. Christian shaking his hands off. It is so wet there after that. And it looks like it'll actually be a free kick off the push. So free kick for the Raiders. We'll see what they do here. There's an injured Rangeview player right out about 30 yards from their goal line.
That's Brandon Scott down on the field. Hopefully he's okay. It looks like he's either holding his knee or maybe even his neck. But if it's his neck, you really got to hope that he's all right.
7:26 remaining in this first half. We're going to take a quick injury break, and we'll see you back in a second. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Aurora Public School Stadium. So we'd like to welcome you back to this game between the Regis Jesuit Raiders and the Rangeview Raiders. 7:34 left in this first half. It is a free kick it is a throw-in for Regis. Down on the side. Christian Nays throwing in. 1-0 Rangeview.
And Christian Nays taking his time. Very short ball into Mitch Rossi. Turns it. Looks to put it in. And cut out by the Rangeview Raiders.
Trickles off the goalie's arms. Perfect place. And that's why you cross balls like that, Joe. To go grab something and just do whatever. And see if you can get a trickle off and a bounce in.
I feel like the low cross is very underutilized in soccer, Steven. The normal in-the-air cross looking for headers is so typical that people often forget that the low cross is just so deadly.
And it really is, Joe. Raiders like to utilize the low cross a lot from what we've seen, just trying to get a foot on it. So far, I haven't actually seen it work, but doesn't mean it won't. All you need is one time, and that one time would be very helpful now with 7 minutes to go in the first half.
Any given Wednesday night, Steven.
And especially since Raiders play on Tuesday and Thursday, this would be the first Wednesday night game they've played. So any given Wednesday night would work great here.
And looks like we're going to have a free kick for the Raiders, taken by Brandon Inbow, about 30 yards out. Here it comes, and going for goal, parried out right to Cyrus's feet, and he's going to put it over the goal. And I really like how Cyrus was there ready for the rebound. I think that's the plan, is put it at the goalie, get a rebound, and then see if they can score.
And free kick here by Rangeview. And we'll see here, Rangeview controlling it around midfield, but Mitch Rossi able to get that cleared, and Christian Nays going to do a quick throw to Luis Hernandez. And Luis Hernandez, it gets parried out of bounds, but it'll be a Regis Jesuit throw-in. So we will see. Oh, Luis trying to control. Rangeview able to clear again, though. No, they don't clear. They try to dribble, and that was almost deadly as Langendorfer got it back to Nays, but Nays couldn't handle it.
I feel like Langendorfer's really settled down in this game now. Pre-game, in like first 10 minutes, he was quite jittery, jumpy, making some weird decisions, bad decisions. It's not very characteristic of his style of play, but now he's settled down and got it under control.
And one thing I've noticed that was characteristic of old, great Raider teams, Joe, that has not been characteristic lately is the fact that the Raiders have not subbed very much. They've subbed twice. They subbed in Cyrus Bibahani for Scott Ryan, and Harrison Thrasher they swapped out. But Harrison now is still in the game, I believe. No, and they swapped Harrison Thrasher for Luis Hernandez. But the old Raider teams used to sub once or twice a game, where the new Raider teams were subbing 7 times. So we'll see what happens here. Another parry by the Rangeview goalie. He's a parry goalie, and that's very dangerous in this weather. Good thing they have Drew Schmidt back there for the Raiders, who's a catch goalie.
I don't feel like either of these goalies have much of a choice in this weather. Both of them are going to be parry goalies tonight. It's going to be very hard to catch regardless of what your style is.
And the irony in that, Joe, is before soccer games, a lot of goalies get their gloves wet because it makes them more sticky and helps them catch more. So the thought that in very rainy weather it makes your gloves very wet, you can't catch, that's just, I don't know. I find that a little comical.
Just a little bit. That the one thing they use to try to help them is now the thing that's hindering their play because there's so much of it. It's quite laughable.
And goal kick here by the Rangeview Raiders. He boots that deep with 4 minutes left in his first half. Cyrus Bibahani not able to find it. And Joe, I believe the Rangeview Raiders have resorted to a kind of kick and chase.
It kind of looks like they're just playing kickball out there. Just knock it at home plate and chase it down. Hope for the best.
Little play through here to Luis. Luis finds... I don't know who he found there. I'm not going to lie. I can't see it through my window.
That was Christian Nays, and he wanted that goal. If he had been able to bring that down on his chest, that would have been level pegging for the Raiders.
That was Adam Manillo with the cross. That's who I was looking for. But a goal kick here for Rangeview. Rangeview with the big boot, and one of the Rangeview players just kind of dropped. So that'll be a foul called. Must have been pushed down before the ball got there. 3:15 left in this first half.
That was Jose Martinez that went down in the midfield getting fouled there.
And with 3 minutes left, note, folks, there is no stoppage time in high school soccer. So when the buzzer sounds in 3 minutes and 1 second, that'll be it. Free kick here.
For the first half, of course.
Yes. About 75 yards out. It'll be a short kick. Tries to cross it through on a quick kick and chase. Drew Schmidt gets there. Drew Schmidt has stopped the hearts of Raider fans several times tonight, just barely getting there in time.
Drew stopped our hearts a few times tonight, but at least he was kind enough to let them start beating again.
Definitely, and let them start beating joyfully rather than sorrowfully as well. So We'll see here. Luis Hernandez back to Langendorfer. Langendorfer, quick chip over, but out of bounds. 2:30 remaining in this first half. Quick throw by Rangeview. Langendorfer with the switch, looking for Mania. No. And I don't actually know if that's out of Mania. I'm not going to lie.
And the ball is going to be sent out on the goal line, and a goal kick for Rangeview. I think that was the Regis Raiders trying to take a long-distance shot and see what happens.
And actually, that might be Kyle Weatherby, believe it or not.
See number 13.
Yes.
And it is, in fact.
No, it's Matt Muniz. Matt Muniz. Sorry, folks. We're having a little trouble with the rain, but that's all right. Brandon Imbow able to step in and kick that off. Christian Nays controls around midfield.
And you see Connor Walsh, the big old clear. That's his classic Connor Walsh. Strong defense, strong everything.
Rangeview with the throw. Minute 18 left.
And Rangeview just sort of content to kick it out on the sideline, make Regis play, taking it into the half. Looks like Rangeview just going to wind down and not try to look for a second goal going into the half. Just take their time and just let it happen.
Brandon Imbow puts it into the box. Bounces around a little and out of bounds, and that'll be a goal kick. Thought that was a corner.
Christian Nays thought it was a corner, too. He was asking for it, pointing, telling the ref, like, hey, that went off them. We'd never kick it out of bounds that far over there.
So, 40 seconds left. Rangeview just booting. And Joe, heading into halftime, neither managers really should be angry. I mean, how do you think Manager Wolf's going to respond to this half?
He's probably going to tell his team that they came out slow and they sort of picked it up towards the middle and the end of the first half, but they've been getting their shots after a while, really just playing that Raider offense we're used to seeing, but it took a little while to get in there.
And you got to think Joey's going to mention to the 11 seniors on this squad that if they don't pick it up, this will be the last 40 minutes of soccer a decent amount of them will ever play.
The last 40 minutes of soccer, their high school careers, and the last 40 minutes of their entire season, whether or not it's in their entire high school or not.
So, end of the half here, Rangeview. The Rangeview Raiders taking a 1-0 lead over the Regis Jesuit Raiders into halftime here at Aurora Public Stadium. Steven Snyder with Joe Quigley, and we'll see you back after a short break for the kickoff of the second half. And welcome back, everybody, to Aurora Public Schools Stadium for tonight's first round boys soccer playoff matchup between your very own Regis Jesuit Raiders and the Rangeview Raiders. I'm Steven Snyder here with Joe Quigley. Joe, it was an interesting first half, to say the least.
It was quite interesting football out there. We've seen a beautiful shot from the Rangeview squad and some not so gorgeous shots, but they've been testing that Rangeview goalie from the Regis squad.
Indeed, and as we just got word, the winner of this game will go on, and on October 29th, which is in 5 days from now, making that a Friday, yes, they will face the Smoky Hill. I don't know the mascot. Smoky Hill wallop Doherty 5-0 anyways, though, in an absolute beating. Soccer score should not be 5-0.
Smoky Hill really told us why. They're number 4 tonight, just putting up 5 goals on a team that was good enough to be in the playoffs.
And here we go. Raiders will kick off for the second half, and they will give it away immediately but win it back. So Ian Sheldon trying to control Harrison Thrasher. Look, but gives it right away. And on the run, Smoky Hill trying to take it coast to coast there, Troy Hudson. But he will get that taken out, and Scott Ryan playing it up. Harrison Thrasher able to keep that in the zone. And here comes Ian Sheldon with a great head. He controls it, but he has a terrible touch. And it looks like we'll see if he can kick it off the Rangeview defender, but no. Ian Sheldon begging for the corner, and they'll give it to him. So it will be a corner for Regis Jesuit.
I would love to see Regis Jesuit get a goal here. That would give them the life and the momentum they need, but it would also be absolutely devastating for Rangeview.
So here we go.
Ian Sheldon to take the corner.
The kick is up, and can't find the head of Christian Nays, who was looking for that. That'll be another corner for Regis. That was dangerous. I thought he had it, but here we go again. Ian Shelton, take 2. And
the wind is really picking up out here, too. Not only is the rain a factor, but we're seeing umbrellas start to try to fly away here.
Ian Shelton with a kick. And no, Rangeview keeps that out. Luis Hernandez trying to control. Gets it off to Ian Shelton, but Rangeview going to be able to clear. Connor Walsh kind of alone back here. Oh, some fancy footwork to get that cleared and away on a good pass to Luis Hernandez. Scott Ryan just backing him up very closely. Quick footwork, gets it back to Walsh.
And now we're seeing some Raiders do their skill moves. We didn't see a lot of that in the first half, but they're starting to show up, and I like it.
Here come Rangeview up the side. Passed it off. Gets rid of it. And Christian Ney is just going to play that down the line and through. So Rangeview to throw in around their own, right around midfield. And now it'll be a Rangeview throw in at midfield. So,
and I really like how this Regis Jesuit offense came out here 100%, got 2 quick attacks right at the goal. Just from the very first seconds of the second half, they're flying around out there.
And part of that might be the realization that they've got about 37 minutes to play, and right now they're out of the playoffs. And the worst thing to do is have to watch the rest of the playoffs from home, especially when that's the second round. So we'll see here if the Raiders can come back. Rangeview taking their time, setting up this attack. Number 2, Wold looking for Hudson, but he will give it away. Trey Ahern. The Regis back 4, I don't believe, have been subbed out at all tonight, Joe.
No, they have not. They've been sticking with them because they've been playing pretty well except for that minor slip-up. And Drew Schmidt eating that up. Great play.
Hudson can't get there again. Drew Schmidt with a punt. Low punt. And that'll be, they try to use it as a through ball right off the bat. Ian Shelton tries to get a touch on that, but no. Wold gets that. And the ball is kind of bouncing around out there like it's a pinball machine. Everybody's just kicking it. And it's bringing back days of 5-year-old soccer. But, Scott Ryan tries to find it through to Ian Shelton. Rangeview goalie sliding dangerously close to the edge of the box, and he almost came out of that box with a handball.
That was dangerously close, and you mentioned the days of 5-year-old soccer, and those were the glory days, Steve. And you got orange slices and juice boxes at halftime. Man, I missed that.
I don't remember what my games are, but I remember the orange slices. I'll tell you that. And the ball gets through to Hudson. Hudson looking for Rangeview. Oh, great defense there by Brandon Imbow, and you saw him sliding across that turf for about 5 feet after that.
And he was sliding on his bare knees. That's going to be some nasty turf run.
So Rangeview with the corner kick, taken here by Amador.
Sorry for the lack of camera for a second. We had to wipe off the little water spots on it. Now we're back.
So Amador with the kick. Oh, the low cross finds its way through 8 men and able to get through to a Rangeview player who just misses that shot. That'll be another Rangeview corner on the other side.
And there's that low cross that you're starting to see them use a lot more in this kind of environment, and you've proven to see how deadly it is. Mitch Rossi slipped up there.
Excuse me, a throw-in for Rangeview on that last play, but wow, this game is just becoming a kick and chase slipping nightmare. And if you're Rangeview, this is not what you want to see because the game can turn so quickly in an environment like this. If you're the Raiders, you got to be on your toes. Make sure Rangeview doesn't get a lead that's too formidable. Ian Shelton able to make the turn, looking for Luis Hernandez, and no, he doesn't get there. The Rangeview goalie will be there to collect that. Raiders getting closer and closer to a goal as this half goes on.
I think they're going to get it within the next 15 minutes, Steven. They are so close. They're knocking on the door. They're practically about to barge in.
All right, so at 19 minutes and 24 seconds, though, that cross going over the hands of the Rangeview goalie, but nobody on the other end of that. This is getting really intense. Luis Hernandez putting it over, but Raiders not able to control that. I'm gonna hold you to that, Joe. At 19 minutes and 24 seconds to go in this half, I'm expecting it to be tied 1-1.
I sure hope it will be. And Luis Hernandez almost put that ball in the upper 90 from the corner, just floating it in there, trying to make it look like a cross, maybe sneak one in.
So, goal kick for Rangeview, who now might be feeling a little scared, Joe.
In my freshman year, I played soccer with a lot of these kids, and Matt Muniz, who's now on varsity, actually had a couple of games where he would cross a ball and end up upper 90 because it's just so deceptive.
Indeed, and it's always nice. I know I played with a couple of these guys my sophomore year, same year as you, Joe. Weren't on the same team, but, all the guys in the program kind of get to know each other, which is nice. But we'll see here, Rangeview kind of trying to take it in, but taken away there by... Yeah, I'm not going to be able to see that. Sorry, folks.
And number 12 for the Rangeview Raiders, we got Marcus Weld really making his presence known out in that midfield, just being a body. And Drew Schmidt parrying the ball. It's still up in the air. Cleared out with his head and then his foot by Connor Walsh. That was a dangerous play.
Drew Schmidt, good awareness, though, because only a Rangeview player was on the end of that. And these players' jerseys are starting to look absolutely soaked, Joe. It's great soccer weather, though, I must say.
It's great soccer weather, and I'm grateful for this booth we're inside of.
Amen to that, Joe. And we'll see here, throw it to Wold, who won't be able to control. Luis Hernandez can't find it through. And Rangeview looking for the attack. No, loses it. Brandon Imbow able to clear. That was dangerous. And it seems like every play now becomes dangerous once you add rain and wind. The wind's still trying to take umbrellas away. Parents, hold on to your small children.
Not only is it adding the rain and the wind, making it dangerous, but the playoff soccer atmosphere is just making it all the more exciting.
And Rangeview just trying to control it. 31-30 left in this half. Oh, dispossessed cleanly. Hudson does an entire flip there after getting taken out, but it'll be a Rangeview throw deep in Raider territory. 25 yards from the goal, dangerous territory. Quick throw in, and it'll be dispossessed and cleared. Kept in. Great play by Brandon Scott, who's injured earlier in the game. Trey Ahern looking for the throw, but that'll be dispossessed by Rangeview. Wold still has it. Loses it. Thrasher gets it to Ahern, who's gets it back to Shelton.
Steven, watching this Rangeview offense and defense play there, they look strikingly similar to that of the Chelsea Football Club in England. The way they play their offense, slow into the middle, but very explosive when they need to be, is just so reminiscent of how Chelsea plays week in and week out.
Joe, it's really weird. Right as you make that connection, I have a sudden extra dislike for this Rangeview Raider team. I am a Bayern Munich fan, and for those of you that follow soccer, Chelsea beat them in the Champions League final. So I see what you mean, Joe, and it's really interesting because the Raiders playing a lot like a Bayern Munich defense and midfield, so it's almost like a Champions League rematch, Joe.
I would love to see the Regis Jesuit Raiders come out on top. It's going to be a free kick for Trey Ahern. Back in his own defensive zone, looking to launch it forward, and there it goes. Controlled on the sideline by number 6, Jeremy Jackson. And the Raiders are going to fight for possession. Rossi putting it into the chest of a Rangeview player, trying to keep it in bounds, and does. Down to Harrison Thrasher, puts it out of bounds.
So I believe the ref on the sideline, though, did whistle that out of bounds. Mitch Rossi, despite his fantastic heading efforts. Rangeview looking for the throw-in. Just really trying to get it in bounds and see what'll happen. And, kicked off a Rangeview player pretty hard there. Trey Ahern, who will then try a quick throw. Marcus Wold really controlling the game on anywhere across the 50 in the Raiders' half.
I like how quick and aggressive the Raiders are playing, but it's reflecting to their poor decisions, and I think they need to keep the aggressiveness, of course, but slow down their mental process and make smarter choices.
Indeed, and Trey Ahern, quick throw to Luis. There was a whistle. I think they're correcting where he's supposed to be standing. There was a substitution for the Raiders.
And here comes Matt Muniz in for Harrison Thrasher.
So Raiders just trying to get more speed out there, switching out one of their fastest guys for one of their fastest. Just maybe a stamina thing. Scott Ryan receiving the quick pass, but Rangeview just going to kick and chase, as has become common in this game for them. It'll be a throw-in for Trey Ahern.
And with 28 minutes left in the second half, we're going to have Trey Ahern rethrow in that ball as he was too far forward from where it went out of bounds.
So Trey with the throw to Ryan. Ryan back to Ahern. Ahern with the throw up, but controlled here by Hudson. Oh, Hudson found a Rangeview player in the middle, but he was offsides.
You saw Joe Langdor from the backside asking for it. And the referee put up his flag and free kick. Launched down into the offensive zone, then proceeded to be cleared out by Brandon Scott. Looks like he's limping around a little bit out from his injury earlier, but he seems to be playing through it just fine.
And, Joe, you know the rain's coming down hard when you can see it, actually. We haven't been able to see it all game through our windows, but now we can actually see it coming sideways down onto the field very hard. So, rain's picking up out there and making this game a lot crazier.
All the more fun to watch and broadcast, Steven.
Indeed. I don't really mind cold and rainy weather when I'm in a booth, not going to lie.
It really is quite nice being inside of this.
And a shout-out to Troy, the athletic director here at Rangeview, for being so accommodating to us in our press box use. We got here, and it was just starting to trickle. I can't imagine being upstairs broadcasting in this right now, Joe.
It would be quite miserable. And we have Luis Hernandez controlling the ball in the offensive zone. Using his body to shield the ball. Very well done. Matt Muniz trying to get the ball back, and he won't. Brandon Scott's going to clear it.
Cyrus Pivahani, I don't know if that was a flying karate kick or he's trying to jump over the ball, but it deflects off him kind of awkwardly when he was in midair.
I don't know what he was trying to do, but with boots like that, it looked great no matter what.
Bright orange boots. Makes the game so much more interesting.
I said it last broadcast to you, and I'll say it again. Fun boots makes for fun football.
And looks like that'll just be kicked over the head. That'll be a Regis Jesuit goal kick. So, interesting game developing here. 25-43. Raiders have about 6 minutes to make Joe a profit here.
Oh, are we betting?
No, I just said I'm going to hold you accountable. So we'll see if you're correct or not. That's all I said.
All right, and here we go. Rangeview really starting to control this ball as opposed to their first 10 minutes of this second half not controlling the ball very well. And it looks like this is turning into a little bit of snow out there. Looks like it's getting a lot colder. Looking up at the lights, it looks like it's snow and not just simple rain.
Yikes. This has now gone from great soccer weather into, oh dear Lord, please blow the final whistle soccer. So, Regis Jesuit not wanting that to happen, but, Rangeview's just like, I want to go home. Please blow the whistle.
I don't think Shasta would be too thrilled if the whistle was blown 24 minutes before the game was actually over.
So, we'll see here. I'm almost concerned, Joe, about the players out there because they are now just kicking it as hard as they can. You're seeing a lot of swing and whiffs. Turns the corner. The shot, just wide. And you can tell that Rangeview Raider is absolutely livid with himself. He had the game sitting in his left foot on that kick. That was Ruben Zuniga, brother of goalie Edward Zuniga. He could have put that away right there.
And you saw every single Rangeview player squat down in disbelief as if that was almost ours, and now we got to try again. And the Raiders breathing a big sigh of relief after that, because I know I am.
So, Joe, I haven't... There we go. There's my sigh of relief. Just came a little late there. But, so, wow. This game is just so ever-changing. 4 minutes until Joe's prediction time. We'll see if the Raiders can turn it around for you quickly here, Joe.
I sure hope they do, because I would like to win a soccer game.
Indeed. Raiders now within 23 minutes of being out of this tournament and sending these 11 seniors packing without a state championship or even a run into the playoffs with a playoff win. Ian Shelton with the run. Ian Shelton dodges one man. He dodges two men. He's by his third man. He's going to let... No. He tries to take it. He should have let Matt Muniz have that.
He just tripped onto the little bit between the concrete and the track. It looks like he could have potentially rolled his ankle, but he's all right.
So, players out there now, the rain seeming to affect their vision as the ball is just disappearing at times. More than normally in a soccer game. Every soccer game you see one or two times where the ball does a quick disappearing act, but it's happened 4 or 5 times now within the last couple of minutes.
It's really a crowd favorite, that disappearing act by the ball. They want to see it more and more and more.
Indeed, and so we'll see here Rangeview just playing kick and chase. Connor Walsh just running up and letting that go off his foot, and you saw that roll all the way back to the goalie. 22 minutes left. It is now 11:38 for the Raiders on their way to striking midnight as an underdog here in this game.
And here comes a big old boot from Rangeview goalkeeper. And Brandon Inbound lets that hit his knee and go back. Doesn't even look like they're striking the ball, just kind of playing pinball with it.
That's exactly what it looks like. And I think it'll resemble more and more kick and chase bunch ball here. Ian Shelton trying to get it through to his men and actually kicks it backwards right to a Rangeview player. It went behind him off the side of his foot. Number 6, Jeremy Jackson, not able to get by Trey Ahern there. Throw in for Rangeview. And
Mitch Rossi, great defense, actually striking the ball, not just putting his body in the way.
that's such a dangerous play in this weather to play it back to your goalie. You see that. That took 2 bounces until it got to Drew Schmidt. And that was actually offsides. It caught the Rangeview player so off guard with that goalie kick. Wow.
That was something else. That ball was just going for glory. Maybe if he didn't even try to go play it could have got in because it was spinning so much and so wet out there.
Oh, Luis Hernandez trying a bicycle. Finds Christian Nays, and they will say that is a goal. Regis Jesuit Raiders score. They are begging for the offsides. But as that stands now, Luis Hernandez.
And I made my bet,
Oh,
Steven,
he did.
by 1 minute.
1 minute and 6 seconds. Congratulations. And, folks, if you want more, I'm sure we'll see the Book of Joe coming out here soon. But, wow.
Absolutely
Luis
beautiful goal.
Hernandez with a bicycle kick assist. I'm trying to process that right now, Joe.
I think you should just let it happen. Don't even try to think about how it happened. It just did.
Wow, Christian Nays with a great finish. Trying to... And again, that was a kick from the backfield that took 1 bounce and then just went to a Regis player. So the Rain seeming to almost make this a knuckleball, Joe.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if this game went into extra time and penalties because it took almost an hour of soccer for Regis Jesuit to score.
So, you know what would be fun? Penalties in this weather, Joe? Can you imagine?
I can only hope, Steven.
Honestly, I don't want to hope for penalties. I hope the Raiders pull it out in normal time, but that'd be a circus. That would be a circus.
That would be the game of the year.
Okay, now I'm stuck on between 2 sides. But anyways, back to the game, folks. Rangeview looks to have a free kick around midfield.
The referee is talking at midfield, trying to decide what the call is.
So, free kick here. 55 yards out for Rangeview. We'll see if they just put this into the box. I mean, why not, Joe?
I mean, that's really been the strategy all night. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
I don't know if I'd call these unbroken. Might call them untested. You can't tell if it's broken, really.
They're not so much broken, nor have they been proven to be effective.
Yeah. So I don't know if you tell these are broken, but hey, I say just put it into the box here and just put it in the middle of the men and just have your players take one giant swing towards the goal. Because that's all you really can do in this weather.
I mean, really, they can try to control the ball as much as they want, but there's a certain point where you just start playing, let's hope this works soccer.
And here we go, the play into the box. Drew Schmidt actually catches one. And that's the first catch we've seen by a keeper all night. Joe, the rain is now going at a 45-degree angle, maybe even more sideways than down. Can you see that?
I do see that, and I'm sorry it has to happen because running upfield into the Raiders' offensive zone is running headstrong into that rain, making it very hard to see anything.
Shout out to all those fans out there, including Chris McCoy. Showed up to every soccer game, and Chris McCoy's down there with his umbrella. Shout out to the Rangeview cheerleaders. Look at them standing out there on the track, just getting absolutely soaked, but keeping these Rangeview fans in it, even starting cheers.
And a big old booming kick from Trey Ahern. And the Rangeview goalie's out there to eat it up, even though it was offsides.
So, free kick here for Rangeview, way back in their own end. Wow, I'd be shocked if our fan count went up by now, Joe. I know at the start of the game we had 22. We might be up around 30, but for all those fans still sitting out there, dedication, way to support your school.
You love to see that even at the high school level. I mean, you can think at the end of the day it's high school soccer, but love seeing fans come out here and support rain, snow, shine, hail, anything.
Indeed, Joe, and wow, this is just becoming a giant game of kick and chase. I believe now it's becoming more sleety, Joe. because we can really start to pronounce it through these completely rain-covered windows somehow.
And I'm still in awe from that bicycle kick assist by Luis Hernandez. He's been trying to do the bicycle kick all year, and it just keeps on working for him.
So, Rangeview, Wold gets it at the top of the box. Surprisingly, doesn't just take a shot. I know you want to play fundamental soccer, but the game here has to be just shoot. Crossed in, Brandon inbound gets ahead to that. Make sure his head is completely down. Make sure that goes nowhere, and it'll be a throw-in for Rangeview.
Maybe that's the new strategy. We've been playing kick and chase all night. Let's see if we can play real offense and catch them off guard.
I don't think with this weather that's going to work, Joe. There's too many cuts and quick starts in a real offense for this weather. But goes out. We'll see if Rangeview can protect it.
And I like how the Raiders got their goal and did not give up any sort of defense at all during that.
Indeed, Joe. And we'll see here. Brandon inbound with the kick deep in the Raider zone. So we'll see here what the Raiders got. Trahern with the kick. 17 and a half minutes left in the half. There's really not much I can analyze about this game. It's just kick and chase and hope.
And there's been a lot of possession changing. I would feel bad for the statistician who has to keep track of who has possession on their stopwatches.
So, yeah, that'd be a nightmare actually right now. Our statistician was actually going to do that, but at the last minute couldn't come. I'm almost glad because that would just be painful for him. But
we have Ruben Zuinga working in the midfield trying to make something happen. He doesn't want his season to end tonight either.
Cyrus Bibahani kind of sliding half, just falling down and letting the ball deflect off his foot for a Rangeview throw-in. Deep in Raider territory. We'll see if Rangeview can make anything out of this opportunity. Throw-in. Rangeview controlling.
There are just so many people over in that corner. I don't think they even know what to do with the ball.
I don't think there is much you can do except for just start kicking. And Rangeview finally gets it out. Oh, but very dangerous playing it backwards in this weather. Players falling all over the place now.
I feel like almost doing anything in this weather is practically dangerous.
And we'll see here. Players really got to be careful going onto that track in this weather. It's so easy to slip and fall and hurt yourself in normal weather, much less with all this rain to help you slip. Wold gets it, passes it back to Scott, and that'll go out. That'll be a Regis throw-in. Both teams begging for it. Also having their Trahern with a quick throw. And there will be a sub. Coming on for Luis Hernandez is Ian Shelton. And Scott Ryan is coming on for... I didn't see another player leave the field. Yeah, there's 10 on the field. So, Cyrus. Cyrus Bibahani.
Hopefully you got Scott and Ian out there. They're offensive players. You really hope to see them come out and just bring the noise, get some goals, go to the next round.
So with 15 minutes left in this second half of football, Connor Walsh, wow, just letting that deflect off his body. And Matt Muniz trying to find something with this ball. He doesn't even want to take a step because he knows he'll slip. Christian Nays controlling on the far side.
In this game is the weather at least is very reminiscent of the International World Cup qualifying between England and Poland where they had to delay the game because the field was practically underwater.
Now you can see, Joe, the rain is now coming down in sheets. The wind's coming in gusts. I mean, all right, I'm going to try your strategy, Joe. Within the next 15 minutes, we see a tornado out here. Or a blizzard, one of the two.
Highly unlikely, but we live in Colorado, so we can't really put it out of the question.
Or the sun. We might see the sun at 8 at night. Who knows?
And that's why I love this state.
So, anyways, back to soccer again. Sorry if we tangent a little, folks. We hope you're having fun and enjoying the game. We're trying to keep it interesting. I know you don't want to hear me sit here all night and go, but 2 passes to 3, 3 passes to 2, 2 passes to 3, back to 2. But anyways, so just having a little fun. But Rangeview does control around midfield now. And the pass here. Oh, Connor Walsh complete whiff. But that ball is going to be slipping and sliding out of bounds.
I like how that Rangeview player recognized that this ball's out of bounds, but if I don't go straight to the ground, I'm going to slip and fall on the track. So I might as well just take it right here.
Smart play there by Jose Martinez. For the Raiders, Drew Schmidt with the kick.
And look at Jose's boots. Nice lime green heel with the white toes.
And that is actually Alex Amador. But, Jose has nice boots, too. He has boots. The all-whites. Like all-white boots.
Free kick for Rangeview at their own midfield. Probably just could have put it straight at Drew Schmidt because he probably can't see anything with this 45-degree angle wind and the snow.
Right into his eyes.
Rain, hail. There it goes.
Oh, wow. Drew Schmidt having to reach over a player. And there it is. Cross back across. And there we go. Number 10, Jose Martinez, putting it in for Rangeview. Looks like Drew Schmidt had that, but ran into a Rangeview player, dropped the ball. Drew Schmidt saying, get the game started again. We only have 12 minutes and 30 seconds. And, wow, just as quickly as it happened, it is 11:47.5 p.m. for the Raiders on this underdog story.
Not only are Drew Schmidt and Brandon Inbound thinking the game restarted, the managers, every single Regis player asking for it. And now we have, I believe, Jose Martinez taking a little stretch break out on the field.
Just making sure he stays fresh. That goal there. Amador taking the... I don't know. Do you know Amador and Martinez? Because you seem to flip them around quite a bit there.
I can't really see their numbers. I just know they
That's
play
fair.
on the left side of the field, so I'm hoping for the best.
That's fair. So, Regis getting it down there. And who knows in this weather, anything can happen. Raiders just kind of booting it in and played out there. But Regis will control. Trahern just putting it in. And it almost slips off a Rangeview player.
You hate to see the Raiders have to give up a goal to turn on the Jets, but if that's what it takes, then that's what it takes. Now they're playing from behind again, which is something I guess they like to do, as they just exhibited by letting in a goal for the last 12 minutes.
So here we go. You're going to play the game. What's more likely, a Raider goal or my tornado in these last 11.5 minutes? So I'm hoping it's a Raider goal, to be honest. Drew Schmidt can't even handle that when it's just a light pass from his player.
Big old boot out of Drew Schmidt. We've seen that all night. Very, very strong goalkeeper.
And number 8 for the Rangeview Raiders, Troy Hudson literally playing kick and chase.
Scott Ryan just moving so fast he jumped out of one of his own little shin pads.
And
both of them
there
are
goes
gone.
the other one. So Ian Sheldon trying to play it through to Christian Nays. The goalie for Rangeview there, Christian. Oh, Rangeview goalie slips. Christian slips, and they have a light collision. But if you're Christian, you got to keep after that, Joe, because that ball could slip out at any moment.
That ball could slip out of the goalkeeper's hands, and he could power it home and say it's 2-2. Let's stop that clock before it strikes midnight.
And I am actually shocked, Joe, that Drew Schmidt is still standing up. He's got 50 empty yards of field and 60 empty yards of field in front of him, and that rain is coming at a 60-degree angle right into his chest. He has got to be absolutely soaked. His head is down here, and wow.
And it is 11:50 on that clock for the Raiders. It's crunch time. Time to make some offense happen regardless of this inclement weather.
For this strikes midnight, so that's what we're referring to, folks. If you're getting a little confused because there's only 10 minutes left, we're referring to a normal clock as an underdog, like a Cinderella story. If it would strike midnight. Sorry, Joe, I just had to clarify that.
It's all right, Steven. We have a free kick for Rangeview. I don't want to say that Rangeview is trying to chew up the clock, but they're taking their time.
And Drew Schmidt able to catch that. One thing the Rangeview goalie has not been able to do. So, big boot by Drew Schmidt. The Raiders are smart. They're just going to head it through. Cyrus Bibahani back on the field. Oh, here comes Ian Shelton. Ian Shelton looking for something. He tries to cross it off a Rangeview player, and that'll be a Regis Jesuit throw-in deep in the zone. This could be big.
This is what the Raiders need. They need offense. And here it is. Scott Ryan looking to control the ball, almost pushes it out, sends it forward. Trey Ahern flicks it backwards to Connor Walsh, and controlled by Rangeview in the midfield.
Not going to lie, generous calling that a flick, Joe. It almost looked like he missed it. But
And now it is full-blown snow. It's not even rain.
is it? Oh, it looks like some really hard sleet. That's a little fast for snow, but that is definitely sleet. Wow, that does not look fun.
It is. It just must be something else out there.
And I actually just asked our producer Jorge if he wants to go let us know what the weather feels like, and he absolutely refused. He said no way. Oh wow, that weather looks absolutely brutal. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, folks.
It's blurry, and we apologize, but that's not the camera. That's the weather.
Shout out to Joey Bonnell up there, braving this out. I promise on this air right now, you all hear me. I am buying Joey Bonnell some hot cocoa after this game because
I second that, Steven. And we have the Raiders trying to get any sort of possession they can. Luis Hernandez is going to control it on the sideline, looking for something. Puts it to the middle. Still Raider ball. I like to see this.
So, really interesting. Scott Ryan finds Luis Hernandez on the outside. I don't think Luis has shin guards in, looking at his legs.
I think he does because I don't see him anywhere else on the field.
Scott Ryan has his back in. Good thing to see.
Rangeview making a run on the counterattack, crossing it, cut out by Connor Walsh. And Mitch Rossi getting the ball. Great touch by Mitch. He's been playing phenomenal all game.
He really has. We'll see if the Raiders can get a goal here. I mean, 7 minutes left in the second half. Tick-tock, tick-tock. It's time to make a wish if you're the Raiders. So,
I don't think the Raiders could even see a shooting star if they wanted to in this kind of weather.
wow, and actually scary. If you look towards the Rangeview goal, the snow actually looks like it's coming right at us. And that is definitely snow and rain. There's it's giving me and you know, if you're driving out there tonight, definitely be careful. But I would like to talk more about the game, Joe, but there's nothing to talk about because it's just kick and chase.
Well, here comes the Raiders looking to do something with the ball and physical play. But Ian Shelton holds on to the ball. It goes to a double team, and it's going to stay Regis ball.
Raider throwing down deep. This is it. 6, 12, 11 left in this half. Ian Shelton has it.
It looks like Christian Naze's hands are so cold he couldn't even manage a real throw, and he just dropped to the feet of Ian Shelton.
So big boot into the box. Oh, comes up. The goalie running out for Rangeview. And they're going to
foul on the Regis Jesuit Raiders. Number 6, Jeremy Jackson, just went to the ground, got hit in the back, and looks like we have an injured player down by the goal. That looks to be a Rangeview player.
And, you know, folks, if we can get a number, we'll tell you.
The field has a nice white hue to it now. It's no longer the rich green it used to be.
Indeed. Oh, if you're Drew Schmidt, he looks so cold right now. Look at him. He can't even really run. They're coming up into a huddle. I think for the Raiders right now it's for warmth, not for planning. They're putting Drew Schmidt in the middle of the circle. There you go.
That's
teammates?
teamwork right there.
So Raiders talking it over.
I'm sure he has some inspiring words on top of the whole I'm freezing aspect of it.
5:34 left in the second half.
The clock has stopped for the injury timeout.
Oof. I really don't have anything else to say about the game, Joe. It's just been kick and chase.
Special shout out to Frank Morton, one of our National Merit Scholarship finalist. Just shout out to him. He's just an all-around great kid.
And I believe he's been giving us tips from home, if I'm correct. So if you guys happen to have me or Joe Quigley's number, and you'd like to give us tips about the broadcast, feel free. If you don't have our numbers, I'm sorry, we aren't going to give those out. But so scissor kick by Cyrus Bibahani to get that ball forward. Mitch Rossi to Harrison Thrasher, and just miscommunication. Connor Walsh just plays that to, I can't even see.
We're talking about how awful this weather must be for the players out on the field, but I don't even want to know what it's like for the players on the bench or the managers.
And actually, if you look at this umbrella in front of us, Joe, the black, it has straight up icy snow on it.
Goodness gracious, this game is, as well you call it, a little bit of a circus out there.
And
4:30 left in this half. Testing Drew Schmidt on that upper 90, puts it out wide. Goal kick for the Raiders.
So that went out of bounds before Drew Schmidt touched it, but Drew Schmidt just trying to kick it. He's kicking it straight into the wind is the problem for the Raiders. They're now playing directly against the wind. Mitch Rossi just trying to keep the ball. Christian Nays finding Harrison Thrasher. Raiders might have something here. Oh, great header by Rangeview to keep that out. And a lot of players now starting to stand still, Joe. I think they want to conserve body heat for the long winter ahead in this game.
It's just, not only is Drew kicking into the wind, but he's kicking into that snow. And I'm no physics major, but that's a solid moving at 20 miles an hour towards you, hitting another solid trying to go the other way.
And
so I don't think that'll work out too well.
Folks, if you actually want to know how much this wind is affecting us, we are inside a press box. Inside the press box, and we can hear the wind. That's two walls that, and about, from the way the wind's blowing, I would say 50 feet, and we can hear it. That's scary. And we wish all the players safety out there. And you can start to see the foot tracks on the field, Joe. That's how you know it's sticking to the turf. 3:30 left.
I'm surprised you can see anything out there, Steven.
I can. I have hawk eyes with my fantastic gonk glasses. It's like a hawk. So we'll see here. 11:57 on the Cinderella clock for the Raiders. Luis Hernandez finds a break in the wall. Looking. Finds Ian Shelton down the line. Ian Shelton able to keep it in. And that'll go out of bounds.
I love what the Raiders are doing here. They're definitely knocking on that door. They're using all 3 minutes that they have. They do not want to go home more than anything right now.
Rangeview with a quick clear. 2:45 left. Ian Shelton tries the cross, goes out of bounds. Raider throw in again.
2.5 minutes, and this game just got real interesting.
Christian Nays finds a cross into the box. Brought down, but no.
And
we will see here.
Trying to be cleared, but not a lot can happen when you can't see the ball. Drew Schmidt out all the way to the 20-yard line.
On the football field, which is 30 yards in soccer, 12 yards beyond his penalty kick. We'll see here Trey Ahern trying to find the ball up. Oh, just taking a real spill on the sidelines. These players are absolutely soaked right now.
I bet they're soaked to the core. Every part of them is cold. They just don't want to be playing soccer, but they also don't want to lose.
Harrison Thrasher has the ball. Can hardly control it. Finds Mitch Rossi in the middle. Mitch Rossi finds it outside to Luis Hernandez. Luis Hernandez running it down. Out of bounds. That'll be a Rangeview player's hurt at the midfield line.
Stopping the clock at exactly 1 minute and 29 seconds left. Steven, that's a rule in high school that I think should be adopted in the pros. If a player is injured, stop the clock so you can't use it as a tactic to waste time.
See, I think with that, Joe, I think they just need to add more stoppage time. They need to start the stoppage time timer when a team's trying to waste time and start it again. Not estimate stoppage time, but get an exact count.
Part of that issue is, though, they can only give a maximum of 5 minutes of stoppage time.
So that's the rule I would change. is that they can give as much as you need.
Absolutely. Whatever it takes.
So this will be a throw-in for the Raiders, 25 yards. Nope, 35 yards from the Rangeview goal. This is really interesting. A minute 29. You could not ask for a more exciting ending. Wow. This.
The only thing I would ask for is that scoreboard to read 2-1 in favor of Regis Jesuit.
And, wow. We will see here. Ian Shelton.
Wiping off the camera
Harrison
for you
Thrasher.
upstairs.
Trying to wipe off the ball as well. Gets a throw. A quick throw to Luis Hernandez. Harrison Thrasher tries to put it in. No direction. They're saying it went off Rangeview player, but that'll be goal kick Rangeview. 1 minute and 20 seconds left.
This clock is starting. It's getting its bells ready. It wants to sound midnight on these Regis Jesuit Raiders.
Here we go. Rangeview taking their time. A goal kick, and not really controlled by anybody. And we are now at exactly 1 minute remaining in this game. Raiders trying to chase it down. Rangeview manages to keep it in. And Connor Walsh plays back to Drew Schmidt, who's playing way up. Oh, this is it. Drew Schmidt running backwards. Rangeview doesn't take a shot. Rangeview smartly playing the clock. Rangeview still has the ball. 40 seconds left. Rangeview finds an inroad. Drew Schmidt going to block that. They will say that is a goal kick. 34, 33. Raiders need to get a move on. The ball has rolled in. 27 seconds here left in the Raiders season. Rangeview has the ball. Rangeview still has it. 17. Raiders trying to get up. Rangeview still has it. 12.
10 seconds left. Ball goes out of bounds. Going to be a
Rangeview kick.
Foul.
And the clock
Foul. Free kick
will
for
run down
Rangeview.
2-1. And the Regis Jesuit Raiders season has ended in agony in the first round of the playoffs, falling to the Rangeview Raiders. Really unfortunate there. Rick Wolf talking to the refs, saying what's up with the clock management. So we will see here. Wow, what a way to end. Rick Wolf absolutely livid. And folks, Steven Snyder signing off for Joe Quigley. Oh, excuse me. I forgot our players of the game. Joe, what do you think?
I think player of the game for the Raiders is Mitch Rossi. He was absolutely sound in that midfield, playing his game all night, 100% all the time, great ball control, creating offense, playing strong defense.
And for the Rangeview Raiders?
I would say it had to be Alex Amador. He played a phenomenal game. He was creating offense, playing strong defense, and just taking chances at the goal every single time he could.
And mine for the Rangeview Raiders, Jeremy Jackson, absolutely controlling the ball down on that right side. And for the Raiders, I have to go with Ian Shelton. He showed the tenacity a real Regis player should. Signing off for the soccer season for 2013 for Joe Quigley, Jorge Palacios Jr., and Joey Vanell, our fantastic cameraman. I'm Steven Snyder. Have a great night, ladies and gentlemen. If you're going out driving, be safe.